we're going to have a small group where you're going to share a bit of those, your picture. And then we're going to identify in the groups some of the blockers that you commonly have identified as something that has influenced some of your choices, right? And then you're going to present those findings to the rest of the group.
Sebagai sukses sebagai ibu yang sekarang ini dengan segala macam attributnya. Misalnya mungkin dulu punya model siapa, apa value yang diberikan, mungkin kenapa saat orang bisa memahami dirimu dari kecil. Anda mencoba menyebabkan masuk. Saya ini
saya udah gambar segini aja. Gambarnya segini. So I started with the module of observation. Then I started with sperm.
But now it's
Sperm. Yeah, not only ovum, but how they interact between ovum and sperm in the early development of human being.
Yes.
I think the first study is the.
Sorry, because I can. Observe.
classroom. And actually the teacher some students and sit here, and you see that there are one boy and one girl, and you can sit.
Mau pakai bahasa Indonesia?
Jadi ini di dalam satu kelas, ini ada seorang guru, di situ banyak murid-muridnya, ada beberapa murid yang memang disiplin duduk mendengarkan pelajarannya, tetapi ada satu murid ini yang tidak bisa diam. Sudah begitu baik,
jadi ilmuwan itu bukan sosok yang serem buat saya waktu itu. Terus yang kedua karena itu saya teaching juga sesuatu yang karena saya lihat betul bagaimana murid-murid sangat sayang sama dia.
Sama dalam satu daerah, ada anak yang terlalu hiperaktif, tapi juga ada anak yang
udah sekarang udah tenggelam. Gue tuh jadi udah nggak ada lagi, saya nggak punya. Kalau misalnya reuni SD itu udah nggak ada lagi dia. Jadi itu betul-betul apa namanya udah hilang SD. Tapi masuk SMP 1 itu sebuah prestasi yang besar gitu, karena itu anak-anak apa namanya di kota ya, gitu. Terus SMP kemudian bisa ya SMA 1 gitu. Jadi saya jadi ada panggilan tapi jauh. Oh, iya. Ini adalah pathway orang Magelang. Gitu Pak. Itu ini.
sama ya.
Ya terus kalau bisa siapa kemana waktu itu ya bisa kuliah di UGM itu terkesan begitu dekat, bukan begitu jauh, justru begitu dekat bahwa semua yang kamu itu bisa dicapai walaupun kamu misalnya SD-nya bukan SD yang misalnya di kota atau apa. Jadi saya ini adalah milestone, akhirnya waktu itu saya keterima di fase kedua, yaitu di sini nih. Jadi dia kaget. Jadi di anak SMA 1 Magelang tuh konsisten, jadi tiap tahun tuh paling selalu ada yang masuk FK-KMK, tapi cuma satu ya. Beda sama SMA 1 yang di Jogja itu sekelas ya, kalau SMA 1 Magelang itu selalu ada tapi cuma satu gitu. Itu selalu dan kita patut saya, cuma saya gitu. Itu masih tahun pertama biomedical science dan beliau itu jadi pembimbing skripsi saya. Menunjukkan bahwa ternyata sekolah sampai bisa saya dan mengajar itu sesuatu yang indah gitu.
Ada pressure kayak ini. Ada pressure.
Tapi ya, ternyata setelah masuk ke fakultas kedokteran banyak sekali teman-teman yang mensupport saya gitu kan. So it is super fine. Jadi saya kebetulan dapat profesor yang sangat baik, sangat membantu saya betul-betul dari nol. Saya nggak tahu mengambil sama sekali waktu berangkat ke sana itu.
Child, as you have, my soul is given by what is it called? Like I like adventuring, and then I always curious to something, and I like reading and playing, of course, as child, as other childs like to play. And then I go to school, but I still apply what my activities here, like adventuring and then playing, and while learning something from others and from nature. I love nature because I live in village as well. So yeah, I'm very close to nature. My mother nature. Yeah, and then I continue to college. Still, I have I like adventuring, and then my career is still big. I always curious to something. Also I love to read. I very love to read like textbook or like atlas of nature, animals, and I was studying biology, so I really love to explore what happens and what's in nature, so like animals and plants and also humans, part of the humans. And then I also like to explore everything, explore something, and then I started begin to develop more self-confidence. Actually, I feel that I have big self-confidence, but some things, and then when I go to work, as I finish my studies, and then I go to work. And I start my work just after I finish my study. And then I'm from faculty of biology, and then I moved to faculty of medicine. Start my career as a lecturer there. But as a young researcher, at that time, I have my boss is it's really a big boss, and it's very strong. Strong people, and it's also a very big teacher, and the biggest teacher ever for me. Yeah, he's really big teacher for me. So on my life, I didn't find another profile, the same profile with him. But my teacher, he said he is very clever, he's very genius, he's very, has joking sense. He's very love to jokes. But sometimes because he's very clever, genius, sometimes when he made a joke and then he laughed out of love. But I didn't laugh at the time because I didn't understand. I kind of cut that, oh, it's really funny. Then when he started laughing loud of all, then he stopped, and then I started to laugh. It's very funny. But then because I just realized that, oh, that's very funny. I'm too full. Yeah, when I in front of him, I feel that I'm really very full. And he often get angry with me. I often get his anger. And when he starts to angry with me, actually sometimes, many times, that I feel very depressed, very sad, and then even start my ears to fall. Sometimes after I get to I'm out of his room, and then I start to cry. The others look to me and know, but then it's become useful because someone and anyone who is come out from his room and then start to cry because he's angry. Yeah, he's very influencing people, but I know that he's right actually. But sometimes a very small mistakes can make him too angry, very angry. And once he is angry, and then he can speak very loud. Even it's from other building, you can hear that he's angry. Yeah, even it's just a small mistake, like I'm right, and then I make a mistake in one or two letters, or punctuation, so that is very tedious. But there are many things, a lot of things that I can learn from him, from his activities, his how the way how to teach, the way how to manage, the way how to do with others, like how to care with others. After he angry, then he will forget after this. And then he will invite me, and then he will make a joke like, I do the mistake yesterday. I angry to you, but now he forget. So he never. It's not like condemned down. It's not things that he saw. He's really very good teacher, and it very impressed me because I have from that. Then I get a power. It's really a big power that inside of myself that I have the confidence. So my self-confidence is increased, and also the soul of the researcher, because he's really a true researcher. He did many research in large area, and how to negotiate with people, how to make report, how to deal with a lot of things. Very thanks to him, because like then I have raised, I become more to take action, and then to care to others, and stop self-beliefs.
I always have many friends, so I'm interested in traveling with friends instead of study at home alone. So that's why at the beginning, in the childhood, I meet many people and then I also make a picture of building, means an elementary school, and then junior high school, university, and then postgraduate. And I also make a picture of this kind of one of my elementary teacher who took me. I mean, when I graduate from elementary school, actually I want to my junior high school just behind my home. But instead of that, my teacher asked me to go to another school to get more education, better education. And then after that, junior high school is full, and when actually my medicine it's not my favorite. My favorite is chemical technique, chemistry. But at that time, one medical doctor suggests me instead of chemistry, it's better for me to go to medicine. And then I'm becoming medical doctor here, and then there is a mentor for me, teacher and mentor, one of professor in my university, Universitas Kejumawa, and she gave me many ideas, many things about research, about life, and about career, and then she also gave me a chance to get PhD by giving recommendation. And opposite personality between this mentor and my mentor during my PhD. This mentor is very kind. I mean, of course, my PhD mentor is kind, but another personality. It's very easy to get angry. I think he got problem with anger management because sometimes we discuss. I don't know whether because I have experience between Western countries and Eastern countries. Eastern countries always boss is always right. Rule number one. Number two, if boss wrong, look number one. Rule number one. I think it's in Eastern countries always like that. But when during my postdoc in Western countries, it's very different. Even even medical student. Undergraduate can make a discussion or argue with professor.
Challenge the professor.
Yeah, challenge the professor. But here, no way. You are under my supervision. That's it. So that's why give me kind of that's me. I think make me strong. Yeah, the good point from this kind of supervisor is give me more stronger how to convince him that I'm right, that my experiment is the best. So that's why I'm being confident. And then after that, here I make also many people. It means that I always like communicate with many people instead of doing by myself.
Dosen waktu itu juga sempat tidak mudah bagi saya untuk menjadi dosen karena saya kepengen dan selalu orang yang bilang oh kok enak bapak itu profesor langsung berat juga ketemu PNS when I was 35 I'm struggling with it so don't say that I'm enak no I have to struggle with everything and then finally struggle I'm injured Injury berkoordinat itu saat itu. Pemberian gerak is very nice. And I started my PhD when I was 40 years old. I was 40 years old. I started my PhD at 40 years old, and I had 2 daughters. And I decided to move for my comfort zone to go to the Netherlands. And at the time, my husband is not yet good.
Yes, agree. dinamis sesuatu yang baru. Memang zona nyaman iya, tapi maksudnya kalau rutin di zona ya karena memang lingkungannya kita masa kita harus rutin kan
masing-masing. Terus kemudian bisa harus kita lihat yang sama apa gitu. Nanti bisa hidup tadi bukan ada yang paling dirasakan yang mana yang itu seperti mungkin semuanya pernah mengalami sedikit, tapi yang paling besar yang kita rasakan itu yang mana? Jadi misalnya dua itu kita lihat yang paling sering sulit di yang mana? Coba aja dikasih.
What two blockers did you identify, and what sort of strategies did you suggest to overcome them?
The history of life, yeah, history of life, and that's so I we like doing at research once because the first one at 7 years old, I we and my friends itu like strategical like this sliding the train, yeah, by shop apa sabun ya, so it's shop, but train not already sliding, but so must go on, and that's all. So why not shop? I think not just slide, but it is same as with shop is sliding with we very fear, yeah, like this. And then a second, we doing as a researcher 2 years experience as surveyor. Yeah.
So the point now is to identify a couple of blockers that you discussed in your group and present strategies. So it's not to just tell the whole story. Okay.
So we talk about a success story, and so we talk about unsuccess story in the groups. Yeah, and success story is sometimes is not real to open by someone else, and it's because the story is good to fear and failure. Yeah. It's like sometimes we value in some subject, but we doing well in other subject. So it is the story. Oh, yeah, I thought about unsuccess, but this is unsuccess story. Yeah, so this like sometimes like this.
Which has quite rigid rules about how a woman should behave in society, and then focusing more on family instead of doing research and everything. So that becomes a problem, which when she starts to do medical research and everything, that's what the mother, father, and family sometimes don't really think it's a good thing. So the conformity in this way is a good one thing that we identify as a possible blockers for developing ourselves more or to creativity, because especially in the Japanese cultures, on like I have my PhD in Japan, where your superiors and then your professors or something could have some rules or some ideas which is impossible for you to debate about, which so it makes you difficult to express your opinions because you don't want to be different from what your professors actually really want. So that's the one of the the factors that we identify with conformity. So admittedly, we've spent our time discussing about that one, so we didn't identify the second blocker.
Yes, that's all right. It's a very complex, it has so many layers.
Yeah, because so many people are telling story regarding that, so we don't have time to identify the second possible.
That's
For
all
me,
right.
I think fear of failure is my blocker, but I don't know about the other members of the group.
All right. The second group over there.
And most of us, we had the same experience, that we were inspired by someone special, maybe our family members, parents, and maybe our teachers or professors during the undergraduate, and that's quite yeah motivated us to do a research and going to the PhD program, taking the PhD program, and went back to be a to be a researcher. And then for the blockers, I think we have discussed a lot, and I think the main blockers are the fear of failure and the touchiness. Touchiness is something about our past experience, unpleasant experience, like being rejected or something like that. And then that I think that's the most
Yes.
Yeah, the main blocker. Yeah, that's all. Thank you.
All right, thank you. The group over there.
And for example, sometimes some people think that a nurse is only a doctor's assistant, and it makes it
diminish.
Yeah.
Yes.
Discouraged. And then the second one is the same with Rusdi, also about the culture in Japanese. So superior and junior is very big difference. Yes. So we have to think about many things before we want to do something. We have to think about our senior and our many things. Then it makes us being afraid to do some things and not cannot grow. Cannot growing.
Thank you. Thank you. And then the last group.
Speakers today. Okay, thank you for the opportunity. I would like to share some blockers that we could identify in our groups. There are several blockers. First is that afraid to be wrong, and the other people will get angry because of our action that's wrong. And then not confident or low self-confidence. And then the other blocker is that belief that we cannot do that action or not capable to do that. And then feeling not worthy and too much sensitivity. And the last one is not enough knowledge or feeling that we have less experience or less skills. Thank you.
Perhaps you can comment a bit, because you went through, this is just a snapshot of a longer course. So this is just to give you a feel for what one can work on. Perhaps you can share a bit about your experience.
Well, this exercise is really try to create some kind of awareness about yourself, that what make you are now, because now when you discuss things, you identify values you have, and you identify certain events, certain individuals which has a very strong influence in your life, and what makes you as you are now. And why then we try to ask you to share with somebody else, because sometimes this story is very personal, and when you tell your personal stories, it really what you call needs a very strong courage to do that. And by doing so, you also tackle these blockers, because sometimes our story is different with others. So when you have a conformity as a blocker, you can tackle that by sharing that, because perhaps your story is unique. It's not normal in a way, or because it's something you want to hide. from others, but when you share, it's also somehow try to be honest with yourself, but also with somebody else. And this is really important for mentor and mentee relationship, because it's really up to you to what extent that you are open to somebody else. But then if you are not that open, you cannot expect that your mentee will be that open to you. So those, what you call? Reciprocal interaction, honesty is really important with this relationship of mentorship.
Yeah, and I think that if you get into a mentoring sort of relationship, it's really good for yourself to identify the reasons why you are doing that and what you can expect for yourself. It's not your mentor that is the one that should determine that. And that moves us into our next session. And this is just to highlight some of the habits of successful mentoring. And after listening to you, I realized that building a symmetric relationship might be challenging between somebody who is much more senior and yourself. But that is really critical in a relationship. We might have different experiences and skills, but it's really a mutual relationship, and it's a mutual learning experience. Because never underestimate what you can bring to the table, and your mentor is interested in you. Otherwise, the mentor wouldn't be there. So I've been lucky to have a few women throughout my career that we didn't have a formalized mentor-mentee relationship, but they were really interested in me and seeing my growth, and were really inspired by the steps that I took to grow as a professional. So. And then you bring new ideas to the table, and then you discuss, and then you might come up with a much better idea than any of us individually would do. So the mutual learning experience is really important. Another thing is to, as I said, is to clarify the expectations on both sides, so it's clear. And also let the mentee decide what to talk about. Because really it's as well as it's a mutual relationship, it's the mentee that turns to a mentor to grow and to learn new things and to become better, and to present the current issues that you are bothering you as a mentee is very important. Then avoid being judgmental, and that is on both sides. It's a tricky one. And this is also reciprocal, but admit weaknesses, and especially from a mentor perspective, that the mentor has limitations too, as all of us. Cannot expect that one person can give advice on all career steps and all part of your life. After all, they are humans. Yeah.
It's also difficult to do this, witness this for the mentor, because of the social expectation and norms that mentors should know better, like you mentioned. Yeah.
Yes. Yeah, and especially in this cultural setting, that might be a bigger challenge than it may be in other European context, for example. Yeah, can we? And another thing that I would like to stress, it's the matter of values. One thing, one great thing for a mentor-mentee relationship is that there is a common ground in shared values. that is really helpful, because then the trust is easier to build, because it's about trust, a two-way route. And another challenging part for a mentor might be that there is no guarantee that the mentee will follow the advice. Huh? And you have to accept that as a mentor. Yeah, that's how things are. And another thing is that for a mentor is to share experience and wisdom when there is an openness for the mentee to receive that. So it's about being judgmental, be responsible about how you present the wisdom and at what time, and really be sensible to the receiving end. And avoid positioning and sharing of confidential information that is not needed or wanted by the mentee. So that could, for example, be that you would like to brag about who you know the president, and and you went to this important meeting, and share a bit of confidential information just to boost your importance. That is about the mentor. It's not about the mentee's development, right? And then the most important thing is to encourage humor and have a bit of fun. It should be fun after all. Yeah. Any comments? Any thoughts around this?
Yeah, but
you give advice and you share experience, but you cannot accept that your mentee would follow what you are saying.
Yeah.
Yes?
Yeah.
Yes, so this brings us to another point, that you might choose to select your mentor outside your workplace. That the current relationship with your boss and yourself, you might choose to have somebody outside your immediate setting that have a lot of experience. For example, like Alan. I could turn to Alan and say, can you be my mentor? Because, he has so much experience that I would like to get. Although we are in the same institution, he is not in the institution on an everyday basis, but he is a wise person. And then I might turn to him and ask him, and then he might consider, is she really an interesting person to, work with on that, for example. Just, yeah.
No comment.
Sorry, putting you on the spot. No, but just as an example, so a mentor and a mentee relationship doesn't necessarily have to do with the exact workplace and the setting that you're. It can be, but it doesn't need to be.
What will be the consequences when we expect that mentee always follow your advice?
I think there's a fundamental definition here about what is the role of a mentor and a mentee. And in the concept of a mentee might not always follow your advice, I think you're raising an issue about professional standards and clinical care and all that sort of thing. And yes, it's a very much more personal interaction between the mentor who's had perhaps more life experience than you have and you as a more junior person. And these people can give you quite independent advice and just be there to listen to what you've got to say and reflect on it, even from a very naive perspective, but challenge you to think about how you can deal with the situation you're in. So it's a very generic sort of advice, not specific to any particular circumstance, but just giving you general help in helping you work through the issues that you're trying to deal with. So I think you've got to distinguish between professional standards and general advice.
Yeah.
Thank you, Alan. Indeed, very important point. All right.
Yeah. So just a bit of that. When you expect your mentee to always follow you, then you will never let the mentee grow.
Right. Now we're gonna. What time is it? How are we? Coffee break. It's coffee break time.
15 minutes.
Yeah. So we can just give you the heads up on the next exercise, and then you go out and you have your coffee, and then come back. So we're gonna divide you into groups of 3. One's gonna be a mentor, one's gonna be a mentee, and one's gonna observe the relationship. And then we do turns. So everybody will practice all roles. And then the mentee will present the problem. And the mentor will provide support and feedback, advice. And the observer will look at the process. And then there will be a short discussion around what happened. Right? So we reunite in 15 minutes, is it? Yeah? So enjoy coffee. Tea, coffee. Yeah.
And we need to have a group of 3 for each group. And I think it would be easier if you can count 1, 2, 3. Yeah. So we have to wait. Or yeah, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, and 1, 2, 3. Okay, so there is for 1, 2, 3 is for each 1, 2, 3, it's within one group. So for each group, you have a 1, 2, 3. 1 become the mentee. The 2 become the mentor. The 3rd become the observer. And we want you. Oh, cuma 2. Okay. 1.
Should we do a recount?
So, okay, so we need to recount again. Okay. Sudah duduk semua? Okay. 1, 2, 3. 1, 2, 3. 1, 2, 3. 1, 2, 3. 1, 2, 3. 1, 2, 3. 1, 2, and there will be observer. Yet you want to volunteer to become observer? Or Alan? Okay. The first person become the mentee. The second person become the mentor. The third person become the observer, and then you will
rotate.
You will have each session 5 minutes. So 5 minutes of the mentee to tell their problem to the mentor, and the mentor should practice how to listen, and then the observer will observe whether he can actively listen, and then there is a checklist here. Actually, this is for individual checklist, not because some of the item is not observable. It's more that we know ourselves, but some others are observable. So that's where the observer can tick whether it's never, occasion, or frequent. And then after 5 minutes, you change role. Not giving advice first. That's for the third. Okay. 5 minute telling stories problem, and you can probe, you can ask, but not giving advice. Listen. But and ask. And ask. Yeah.
But everybody will have every role.
Yeah.
Yes.
So after 5 minutes, you change role. The mentee become the observer. The mentor become the mentee become the observer. The mentor become the mentee. The observer become the mentor, and that's again.
Yeah.
So we have a 15 minutes exercise, and we'll for the observer, you can select what you observe from the mentor.